Hi, my name is Augustus Gaia, and I'm here at the KVCC Culinary Program, and I'm going to make you my breakfast hash. So what we're going to do is take the bacon out. Really, you can use whatever bacon, nitrate-free, nitrates in it. Really, with that, it determines the color of the bacon. And then obviously, wash your hands after touching meat. So you can really just cut these into any size you want. So what we'll do is we'll cut a little here, and then we'll slowly just make our way down. What we'll do is throw it into the pan that's already hot, and the bacon will break up as it's cooking, separating itself from the rest of the pieces. And with the bacon, we're going to cook it about halfway because we're going to be throwing this back into the oven. So you're going to want them to be about halfway. You can be a little past that, but you really just want them to be a little golden brown here. And then remove them and pat the oil off. All right. And since we're going to be doing veggies for the rest of this, one cutting board should be more than enough. But save the peppers for last, the jalapeno I mean. We'll have to wash our potatoes as well. And I like keeping the skins on because a lot of the nutrition in the potato is on the skin too. But I prefer not to peel them. What we'll do is this. Like so. If you see a little black in it, cut it right off. And you got a little throwaway bit, throw it into that. It's already looking really nice and smelling good too. And with the way I'm cutting this, I'm just putting the side of the blade up against my finger and then just slowly inching my way down the potato as to not cut myself. And just keep following along with the cuts. And even if you cut them a little wider, you can just cut them right down the middle if they're too big. Again, all of this is getting mixed up and cooked a little bit on the stove top, and then it's going right into the oven. But then what we'll do is we'll take this off. And this water is boiling, so what we can do is just take all these potatoes here and slowly but carefully put them into the water. Now you can put them into a container if you want and then put them into the water, but for me this is just a little bit faster. I lost one. And now that's done. So what we're going to do with the bacon, we're going to take one of these, get ourselves some paper towels, fold them up like that. And we have the tongs here for a reason as well. Now you're going to want to keep all this grease in the pan because this is what's going to cook the rest of the stuff. Your onions, your potatoes, everything. do, get another paper towel, and place that right on top in these, and set it off to the side. Now we just want these to boil a little bit and get tender. Now you can save your onion ends and everything, your peels to do stock. Personally, I like to just feed them to the animals, pigs, what have you, chickens. But some people don't live in the country, so they have to either throw it away or try to recycle it in some way. And then with this, I'm just following the lines of the onion and cutting along with them, more or less. And then you're gonna just keep going like that and then cut right in the middle. And that's your dice. There. And then where you kind of get towards the end, I do this with my onion, just to make sure that the cuts stay semi-consistent. Now the onion doesn't need to be like perfectly diced, but you're gonna want the pieces to be at least smallish. And we're gonna check on the potatoes real quick here. They're looking good. A little bit of activity going on in there. And we'll heat up the pan, the cast iron pan again here soon to then cook these potatoes a bit to get them golden brown, along with the onions and the peppers, well, the pepper. And then we'll finish it off with 4 eggs and some cheese on top. And what's cool about this recipe is you can change it to whatever you want. And you can be vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, whatever, tarian. And I just try to keep my cutting board a little organized here. Working with a minimum amount of space, but making the best of it is what you want to do. So we have our onion and everything else. Right now we'll work on the garlic too, because we're gonna mince up some of this. These 2 cloves, and throw those in around the same time of the onions and the pepper. Just to only pull a little bit of the flavor out. And I like putting gloves on for the garlic because it's a bit sticky, and trying to remove all the skin with it sticking to your hand makes it a bit difficult. All right. These should be relatively to the point where I want them. Yep. So what we're gonna do is kill the heat, turn this back on, put 6. Now what we're gonna do, take these, Now the pan, you can get it hot and then put them in, but you really just want to make sure you don't get a lot of water in that pan, because water and grease do not mix well in a cast iron. And you don't want to water down all that flavor. And you don't need to worry about smaller bits of potato that may have ended up in the pot and trying to get to them. There'll be plenty for everyone. We're going to want to keep this pan hot. We're going to want to season them too with salt and pepper. A generous amount, don't be afraid. But not a generous amount of pepper, unless you like it. And I like to add a little bit of red pepper flakes in there. And with mincing, I kind of like to have slightly bigger chunks just to make it a little easier to mince it all up. The cool thing about breakfast hash is that you can put really anything you want in it. Plus breakfast is really due to interpretation. I even have this for dinner, so. We're gonna stir this a little more. Where they start getting a little golden brown on one side, that's when you can start adding everything else. And then the pepper. Always, always, always wear gloves when you mess with peppers. I strongly recommend it. What we're going to do is not de-seed it or anything, just cut the ends right down the middle. Right down the middle again on both halves. And then what we can do is just align them like this if we want, and then cut them. But I like doing them one at a time. They're already getting a little golden brown there. So now we'll take our onions, put them in. Now this is a bit of a smaller cast iron than what I'm used to using, but you can still make it work. Just kind of spread it out from the middle, and then go from the bottom, mixing it up like that. So what we're going to want to do is obviously more salt, and more pepper. And we'll add more red pepper flakes in here as well. Personally, I like my breakfast hashes very hot. Not a lot of people do, but I personally like mine very hot. There. Then what we're going to do also is mix in the rest of our drying, or not herbs, not dry herbs, but fresh herbs. It's thyme and rosemary. We're going to also add in our garlic, along with the jalapenos. You want every bit of it. This adds a lot of flavor to the dish. And then just mix it all up a little bit. And then a little more salt too. Not a lot. So then, kill the heat. What we're gonna do is then spread the bacon out. But then we're gonna just mix it all up together. And that's just looking fine. So we're gonna do some cheese and egg on it. I like to usually do 4 or 5 eggs, but that's also up to you. Whether or not you like eggs, you can keep them in or take them out. Totally up to you, but I feel that this is like one of the things that really pulls the dish together and really just makes it a breakfast hash. Now, I've never done that before. Had all of my eggs in a perfectly squared almost formation. It's different. Wash my hands again since I got egg on them. Where I probably won't use all this cheese, and if others use it, you're going to want to use a glove because you're not going to want to touch this with your bare hands. And you just want to make sure every part of this hash is covered in cheese. You want to make sure the eggs are covered in cheese, bacon, the potatoes. You don't want to see much of the hash. You see a little bit, but personally, a whole lot of cheese goes a long way for the breakfast hash. And there. And then what we're going to do is pop it in the oven for about 15 to 17 minutes, depends on how you want your eggs. If you want them runny, probably about 15 to 14 minutes. So what we'll do, grab that, put it right in here. And it should come out looking like this. Nice golden crust and everything. We're going to serve it in a small bowl. So I strongly recommend using a glove while trying to remove the food from this, because the pan will probably still be hot. And I always go for an egg at least for my hash. And there. And that's your breakfast hash right there.